In the bustling heart of Chicago, where the wind whipped through the skyscrapers, like a relentless reminder of life's unpredictability, Alex Thompson clutched his worn briefcase tighter as he hurried toward the towering glass building that held his future. But wait, before we dive into how one selfless act turned his world upside down, imagine this: a single dad on the brink of his biggest break, only to throw it all away for a complete stranger. And that stranger, she wasn't just anyone. Stick around till the end to see how kindness boomeranged back in the most unexpected way. If this story touches your heart like I know it will, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of real-life miracles that prove good deeds never go unrewarded. Now, let's jump in. Alex had always been the kind of guy who believed in second chances, but lately those chances felt like they were slipping through his fingers like sand. At 35, he was a widower, raising his 6-year-old daughter, Emma, all on his own after a car accident stole his wife, Sarah, 2 years ago. Sarah had been the light of their lives. Vibrant, with a laugh that could fill a room and a way of making even the toughest days feel manageable. Now, Alex woke up every morning to the echo of her absence, staring at the empty side of the bed before steeling himself for another day of scraping by. Their small apartment in a rundown neighborhood was a far cry from the cozy home they'd once shared in the suburbs. The walls were thin, the heater sputtered like an old man with a cough, and the fridge was often stocked with more hope than actual food. Alex worked 2 jobs, days as a mechanic at a local garage, fixing cars that reminded him of the one that had taken Sarah, and nights as a delivery driver, navigating the city's chaotic streets while Emma stayed with their elderly neighbor, Mrs. Ramirez. But it wasn't enough. Bills piled up like uninvited guests, medical debts from Sarah's final days, rent that crept higher each month, and Emma's school supplies that seemed to multiply overnight. Emma was the reason Alex kept going. With her mother's curly brown hair and wide, curious blue eyes, she was a bundle of energy and innocence. "Daddy, when are we going to the zoo again?" she'd ask, her little voice full of wonder, oblivious to the fact that zoo tickets were a luxury they couldn't afford. Alex would smile, ruffle her hair, and promise, "Soon, Peanut, real soon." But inside, his heart ached. He wanted more for her, a stable home, dance classes like she'd begged for, maybe even a puppy to chase away the loneliness that sometimes clouded her eyes when she thought he wasn't looking. That's why this interview was everything. After months of applying, tweaking his resume to highlight his engineering degree that had gathered dust since Sarah's death, Alex had landed a shot at a mid-level position at Apex Innovations, a cutting-edge tech firm specializing in sustainable energy solutions. The job paid twice what he made now, with benefits that included health insurance and flexible hours. It was his ticket out of the grind, a chance to give Emma the life she deserved. He'd prepared meticulously, ironed his only suit, practiced answers in the mirror until his reflection looked confident, and even splurged on a new tie that matched Sarah's favorite color, blue, for good luck. The morning of the interview dawned crisp and clear, the kind of autumn day that promised new beginnings. Alex dropped Emma off at school with a kiss and a whispered, "Wish me luck, kiddo." She beamed up at him.
"You're gonna crush it, Daddy."
"Like a superhero." Her words fueled him as he boarded the crowded L train, his mind racing through potential questions. What are your strengths? Teamwork, problem solving under pressure. Weaknesses? Maybe working too hard. Classic answer, but true in his case. But fate, that tricky storyteller, had other plans. As Alex emerged from the train station, just blocks from Apex's headquarters, he spotted her. A woman in her late 40s, dressed in a sharp business suit, slumped against a lamppost on the sidewalk. Her face was pale, beads of sweat glistening despite the cool air, and she clutched her chest with one hand while her other fumbled for her phone. Passers-by hurried past, eyes glued to their screens or averted in that big, city way of minding one's own business. Cars honked, the world spun on, but Alex stopped dead in his tracks. "Hey, Mom, are you okay?" he called, jogging over. She looked up, her eyes wide with pain. I think it's my heart," she gasped, her voice barely above a whisper. "Can't breathe right." Without a second thought, Alex dropped his briefcase and knelt beside her. He'd taken a first aid course years ago for Sarah's sake. She'd insisted after a scare with Emma's allergies. "Okay, stay with me. I'm calling 911. He pulled out his phone, his fingers steady despite the adrenaline surging through him. As the operator connected, Alex coached her through slow breaths, loosening her collar and checking her pulse. "Help's on the way," he assured her, his voice calm like he used with Emma during thunderstorms. The woman, her name was Elena, she managed to say, gripped his hand tightly. "Thank you," she murmured. "I was on my way to a meeting, important day." The ambulance arrived in what felt like an eternity but was only minutes. Paramedics swarmed in, stabilizing Elena and loading her onto a stretcher. "You did good, sir," one of them said, clapping Alex on the shoulder. "Might have saved her life." As they sped away with sirens blaring, Alex glanced at his watch. His interview was in 10 minutes. Panic clawed at his chest. He could still make it if he ran. Maybe explain the delay, beg for understanding. But his phone buzzed a text from the recruiter confirming the time. He stared at the screen, then at the spot where Elena had been. With a heavy sigh, he dialed the number. "I'm so sorry," he told the recruiter, his voice thick. "There's been an emergency. I won't make it." The response was polite but firm. "We'll have a tight schedule, Mr. Thompson. We'll have to pass." Just like that, the door slammed shut. Alex stood there, the wind tugging at his tie, feeling the weight of failure crash over him like a wave. What had he done? For a stranger? Emma's face flashed in his mind. Her disappointment when he told her they couldn't afford that new backpack. Tears stung his eyes as he trudged back to the train, the city blurring around him. Back home, Alex collapsed on the couch, staring at the ceiling. Mrs. Ramirez brought Emma over after school, sensing his mood. "Rough day, Mijo?" she asked gently. Alex nodded, forcing a smile as Emma bounded in. "Daddy, how'd it go?" He pulled her into a hug, hiding his face in her hair. "Not today, Peanut. But we'll figure it out." That night, as he tucked her in, reading her favorite story about a brave little mouse who helps others, Emma yawned and said, "You're like the mouse, Daddy. Always helping." Her words twisted the knife, but they also warmed him. Maybe that was enough, for now. Days turned into a week, the sting of the missed interview fading into the dull ache of routine. Alex picked up extra shifts at the garage, his hands greasy and calloused, his mind wandering to what-ifs. What if he'd ignored Elena? Would he be in a corner office now, planning a better future? But guilt followed that thought. Sarah had raised him better, taught him that kindness wasn't optional, even when it hurt. Then, one rainy afternoon, as Alex wiped down a customer's engine, his phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello," a crisp voice on the other end. "Mr. Thompson. This is Elena Vasquez. You helped me on the street last week." Alex froze, oil rag in hand. "Elena, how are you?" "I hope you're okay," she chuckled softly. "Thanks to you, yes. The doctors said it was a panic attack mixed with arrhythmia. Caught it early. I wanted to thank you properly." They met for coffee the next day at a quaint cafe near his garage. Elena arrived looking worlds apart from the distressed woman on the sidewalk, poised with a warm smile and an air of quiet authority. Over Lats, she shared her story, a high-powered executive, divorced, no kids, buried in work to fill the voids. "That day, I was rushing to a board meeting, felt invincible until I wasn't." Alex nodded, sharing bits of his own life. The accident, Emma, the endless juggle. When he mentioned the missed interview, her eyes widened. "You sacrificed that for me." "A stranger," Alex shrugged. "Couldn't just walk by. Anyone would have done it." But Elena shook her head. "Not anyone. Not in this city." As they talked, a spark of connection formed, two souls battered by life, finding solace in shared vulnerability. Elena asked about his background, his engineering skills shining through as he described a side project, a homemade solar panel rig he'd built for Mrs. Ramirez's balcony to cut her electric bill. What Alex didn't know was that Elena wasn't just any executive. She was the CEO of Vanguard Tech, a rival firm to Apex but bigger, bolder, focused on green innovations that could change the world. She'd built it from a startup in her garage to a multi-billion-dollar empire, driven by a passion for sustainability born from her own childhood in a polluted industrial town. But success had come at a cost: isolation, burnout, the very attack that felled her that day. Impressed by Alex's ingenuity and character, Elena made a call right there in the cafe. "I have an opening," she said casually. "Senior engineer on our renewable projects team. Starts higher than what Apex offered, with remote options for family time." Alex stared, dumbfounded. "Why, you don't even know me." Elena leaned forward, her eyes earnest. "I know enough. You chose humanity over ambition. That's rarer than talent, and talent, you've got that too." The job offer was real, a contract emailed that evening, benefits including tuition reimbursement for Emma's future, and even a relocation stipend if they wanted a fresh start. But it was more than money, it was validation. Alex accepted, tears in his eyes as he told Emma over dinner, "We're moving up, Peanut. Better days ahead," she squealed, hugging him tight. "Because you're a hero." Daddy challenges didn't vanish overnight. The new role stretched Alex, demanding late nights learning cutting-edge software and collaborating with teams across time zones. Doubts crept in, imposter syndrome whispering he didn't belong among Ivy League grads. Emma struggled with the change too, missing her old school friends, acting out with tantrums that reminded Alex of Sarah's fiery spirit. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, Alex found Emma crying in her room. "I miss Mommy," she sobbed. "And everything's different." He held her, sharing stories of Sarah's strength, how she'd want them to embrace this new chapter. Elena became an unexpected mentor, checking in with coffee chats that evolved into deep conversations. She shared her own battles, the boardroom sexism she'd fought, the loneliness of leadership. "Success isn't just climbing ladders," she'd say. "It's lifting others." Inspired, Alex proposed a community program at Vanguard, workshops teaching low-income families to build affordable solar kits, drawing from his garage tinkering. Elena greenlit it, and it became a hit, earning press and boosting the company's image. But the real turning point came 6 months in, when Alex faced his biggest professional hurdle, a project deadline for a breakthrough battery prototype. The team hit snag after snag, material failures, budget overruns. Alex worked tirelessly, drawing on his mechanic's grit to improvise solutions. One night, exhausted, he confided in Elena over a late call. "I feel like I'm failing everyone. You the team, Emma." She paused, then shared a vulnerability of her own. "After my divorce, I nearly lost Vanguard to doubt, but a mentor pulled me through. Let me be that for you." Her guidance, strategic tweaks and morale boosts, turned the tide. The prototype succeeded, landing a major government contract. Personally, healing deepened. Alex started dating again, cautiously, introducing Emma to a kind teacher from her new school. Elena found balance too, taking time off for travel and even adopting a rescue dog, naming it Alex in jest. Their friendship blossomed into a platonic bond that filled gaps neither knew existed. 1 year after that fateful day, Alex stood on a stage at Vanguard's annual gala, Emma by his side in a frilly dress, as Elena presented him with an innovation award. "This man reminds us," she said to the applauding crowd, "that true leadership starts with compassion." Alex looked out, spotting Mrs. Ramirez in the audience, flown in as a surprise. In his speech, he choked up, "Life throws curveballs, but kindness, it throws them back as home runs. To anyone struggling, help someone today. It might just save you too." As confetti fell, Alex hugged Emma, whispering, "This is for Mommy." The crowd cheered, but in his heart, he knew the real victory was the journey, from despair to hope, stranger to savior. And that's the story of how one missed interview became the gateway to everything. If Alex's tale of unexpected twists and heartfelt redemption moved you, smash that like button. It helps spread these inspiring stories. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. You never know when the next miracle might unfold. Remember, in a world that rushes by, a single act of kindness can change everything. What's your story of paying it forward? Share in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.